Shout out to the thinking class. This is Lawrence D. Adams. It is Monday. Fireman 2531. Shout out to you. Good to see you. First time here. Peace, love, and hair grease. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. You don't want to miss today's topic. Is mashing your ego in the game. Is not what you think I'm going to talk about. Let's put it that way. We're here to bring you information that gives you transformation. So get ready today for some transformation. Shout out to everyone. What's going on, Tara? What's going on, Straight G? What's going on? Y'all gonna be interested for today. Today gonna be something else. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to. My thing look crooked. I don't know why I don't like that. There we go. There we go. I like that. Transformation. We are here to give information that produces what? Transformation. Let me say that again. We're here to get information that brings about transformation. Shout out to everybody. What's going on, Joe Blast? What's going on? Let's get it going. It is Monday. I got my jerk chicken. It was delicious on Friday. I don't know what I'm going to do this Friday because it's with Christmas Eve or whatever, but I'm going to get some jerk chicken done. I'm going to get that jerk chicken. I'm going to get some more jerk chicken. Let's go. So we gonna talk. Let's get it. What's going on, these nuts? What's going on, Gail? What's going on? Good to see you. What's going on? Chat room, just swinging through. Show some love. I appreciate the love. Thank you. Don't forget, get this book. Thank you, Joe Blast, for doing that. Don't forget The Secret Invisible Crown. Simple book. Get you there. The Secret Invisible Crown is on Amazon. That's right, Amazon. The Secret Invisible Crown. Appreciate that, Joe Blast. What's going on? These nuts. What's going on? Everybody's coming through. Good to see you, boy. Today gonna be something else. I don't know if I'm ready to share what today is. Woo. So yeah, The Secret Invisible Crown, good book. Set bold demands. Set your price high. You make bold demands and set your standard high. Wow, you got to make your standards high. Wow. Your crawl may crawl separation. What's going on, everyone? Y'all ready for today? Thank you for swinging through. Shout out to everyone. What's going on, Sharice? Everybody, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? You know, I don't like to wait. I can't wait. I am going to get another camera. And another, the light that moved. There we go. There we go. Yeah. That's better. Yeah. There we go. There we go. That's more better. Man, I can't wait. How are you guys doing today? Let me say this. I did the show. Y'all missed Friday's show. You missed something else. We went to, as they said, we went to Jupiter on Friday. What's going on, Riley? What's going on, brother? Good to see you. We went to Jupiter on Friday. I'm just going to say, if you missed Friday, you missed it. We went there. If you missed Friday, we went to a whole nother level on Friday. We went to Jupiter. It was some serious next level stuff. So I'm trying to be careful because I feel like I want to go there a little bit, but we got to stick to this topic. But, you know, if you missed the end of Friday when we talked to Fierce Soul, the communicator, and we began to talk about that you meet nobody but you and everyone else. You meet no one else but you and everyone else. You meet no one else but you and everyone else. So the issue that you have with anyone is really an issue that you have within yourself. If not, the other person wouldn't even show up. You have an issue that you can't get along with men, then what is the issue inside of you that you don't get along with yourself? It always is you're always reflecting your thoughts, your beliefs, your attitudes, your thoughts into the world. But that's what we talked about Friday. So he gave the example. What's going on, Salute? What's going on? Salute to everyone. Salute, Sigma. So if you missed Friday, you realize that we meet no one else but us inside of others. So if you have an issue with someone, where do you have an issue inside of you? Where do you have an issue inside of you? Where, if you have a misunderstanding with someone, where do I have a misunderstanding with inside of me? We are constantly what? Projecting out to others what we feel, think, or perceive about the world around us. That was Friday. If you missed Friday, towards the end, it was serious because many times we talk about the law of attraction and manifestation and all that kind of stuff, but no one breaks down the real nuances of manifestation and the whole thing of all that. But let's talk about today. We're talking about mastering the ego because that came up Friday in the game. Mastering the ego in the game. You say, what? We know we talk about game, we talking about strategy, but I need to say something about the ego. So let's get a working definition of what the ego is. The ego, let's define it, is a noun. So everyone need to write. Let's get this everybody on the same page because everybody's greeting each other. Let's get ego. E-G-O is a noun. Mastering the ego in the game. And I'm going to dispel something that many people have. What's going on? What's going on, Alpha Kingdom? What's going on, bro? What's going on? Ego. I already know today was going to be a super lit. Let's get it. Mastering the ego. I'm going to say something that's going to be contrary to what a lot of people teach and talk about when it comes to the ego. Let me say that again. I'm going to say something. Let me say this again. I'm going to say something that's going to be contrarian to what people have said about the ego. So let's do the first thing. Let's define ego. Ego is a noun, and it means this: a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Let's get that definition there, because this is going to be the premise, because so many people have so many thoughts about the ego. You shouldn't have an ego. You can't have an ego. You can't have an ego. You shouldn't have an ego. Blah, 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 blah. It's a person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. Let me say that again. A person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. What has happened is we have misdiagnosed, or we have misinterpreted the word ego and made it evil. We have misdiagnosed ego as something that is evil. Let me say that again for those in the back of the class. We have misinterpreted ego as something that was evil and that you should not have. And what we have done, if you have heard this before, I want you to, when I say this saying, I want you to put a number 2 in the chat room when I say it. If you heard this, most people say ego is edging God out. If you heard that, put a number 2 in the chat room. If you ever heard someone say ego is edging God out, put a number 2 if you heard that ego. You heard people say ego means edging God out. If you heard that, put that in the chat room because I'm going to challenge you today. If you heard that ego means edging God out. Okay, come on, we need to participate. Come on, if you heard that before, I heard it from time to time on the thinking class last week. Okay, let me get some clarity. Ego, well, it means edging God out. I'm going to shatter that completely today and this week. This is just the beginning. If you look at the definition of ego, a person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. I'm going to shatter that complete premise right now. When you have an unhealthy sense of ego, you can never edge God out. When you have a healthy sense of ego, you can never edge God out. Let's redefine that and says edging God on. Sometimes we say things because we hear other people say it, but we got to look at definitions of words and how does this all play in the game. Edging God on. When you have a sense of self-esteem and self-importance, how can you edge God out when you're reflecting who you are as a child or a reflection of God? The problem is we always look at ego as something that is negative and not something that is positive. So we always say, well, he got an ego. He got an ego problem. No, he has a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance. The problem is a lot of people, and I'm going to talk to the men, do not have a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance. Actually, they are starving because their ego is thirsty. You've been told so many times, and that's the reason why, once again, your game is maybe not effectively working, is because your sense of self-esteem, your sense of self-esteem and self-importance is not even there. Psychology says identity ego is normal. The problem is a lack of balance. Correct. So a lot of people, let me say a lot of men, have egos that are not, or people have a lot of ego that are bruised, hurt, that has not been cultivated in the proper environment. And so what they do is they suffer and never accomplish anything. When you have a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance, you can conquer the world. It's only when it becomes unbalanced that it becomes an issue. And I'm here to announce to you, brothers and sisters, that could it be that many people, and I'm talking to you brothers, are suffering from a low sense of ego or self-esteem and self-importance. And it goes to this next point. I'm going fast because my mind's been thinking about this. This is number one reason why Eastern philosophy is so popular, rejecting the ego and all, rejecting the ego and all that. It's been there, right? We say reject the ego, but when you really understand the real science or real part of the ego, you realize that if you have a healthy sense of self-importance and a sense of self-esteem, you identifying with the I am, which is God. The problem is we have so seen people with inflated egos and people using their ego the wrong way that when we see it normally, we don't know how to react. And what we don't see is, what we don't talk about is people who have damaged egos, who have not fully grown. We have a lot of people whose ego have not completely matured, where they have a healthy sense of self-esteem or self-importance. We made God, we are made in God's image. We need to become comfortable with it. Thank you, Monica. There go my co-host from the motion way down in Mississippi. There it is. What happens is those whose ego, whoa, y'all going in. Denying your ego is like denying stripping yourself of your own inheritance, divinity. It just needs to be cultivated properly. And what happens is, thank you, a lot of men, and I'm saying men's, and a lot of women, but I'm talking to the men. Your ego has not been cultivated properly, and therefore you have an abnormality in your ego because you don't have that healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance. Hence, why it leads to my next point. Why you look for validation outwardly and not inwardly first. Let me break this thing with validation down because I think, man, I'm already gone. Car is gone. Let's talk. I'm going to talk about ego, but I'm going to get this validation piece out here. I have a video. When you go to my channel and you open it up, it says validate yourself first. That's good. That's good right there. Let me say this about a validation because it's going to rock some man of spirits voices. And why would you say that, LDA? When you have a healthy ego, you can validate yourself and others can validate you. But you're not moved off of your square. If this is resonating with you, let me know in the chat room. Let me know in the chat room. Let me say this again. I'm speeding through because I took notes and everything like that, but I want you to really get this. The ego, let's get the definition correctly. I added just one thing is a person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. When you have a healthy ego, you have no problem validating yourself, and you have no problem if someone validates you. You are just not moved and twisted and turned by someone's validation because you're already validated yourself. The problem is most men have a problem. Yeah, I don't need nobody to validate me. Ain't no woman validating you. You need to tell me how to. Someone needs to tell you that you're good or if you're not. Men constantly need validation from someone. Oh, Dave, what's going on, Charles? What's going on, my dude from college? What's going on? Bernie L, what's going on? The problem is because of not having a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance, what happens is we misinterpret. Look at this. I'm right here. When we misinterpret people validating us because we don't have a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance, as if the person is trying to control us. All right, sure, I will do that at the end. We will lift him up. We'll do that right at the end. We'll definitely do that. So what happens, I want to make sure I get this point out. I want to make sure that you understand that as men, you need to have a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance. And a lot of men do not have that. Let me say that again. A lot of men do not have a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance. And that's why when a woman validates them, because they don't have a healthy sense of what? Self-esteem, they get taken away. Or when someone validates them, they get taken away. So I want you to really get this. I've seen and noticed that a lot of people have damaged ego. And we were to look at it correctly, they have a damaged sense of self-esteem and self-importance. They don't view themselves correctly. The Bible clearly states that we love one another and that we love ourselves. Ego and arrogance are two completely different things. Correct. There are a lot of men, and I'm talking to the men, but also women too, but a lot of men who don't have a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance. So because you didn't I'm saying so much, let me pull back, and I see some stuff trying to pull me a different way. Let me say this. And so what happens is if you were not cultivated in the environment that actually if you were not cultivated as a little boy or as a little girl in an environment that actually poured inside of your self-esteem or your ego in a healthy way, you're going to try to look for that any place that you can. Hence why you look for validation on the outside of you. Let me break it down because I'm giving a lot of concepts. Let me break it down. When I took my son out, when I took my son, came from college, and he needed to go get a suit because he had an interview presentation for a particular bank. Went to go get this suit. He got suited and fitted. He got his shoes. First he got this suit. He got this suit. I want y'all to really get this. He got this suit and everything like that. And I said, we're going to come back. We're going to get your shoes. We're going to get your tie. We're going to get your shirt. We're going to get your socks. And we're going to make sure everything lines up to what you got. That was good. But this is where it changed. When he went home, I said, son, I want you to take everything off. I want you to take what you have on and take it off and put on the suit and put the whole thing on. I want you to put your suit on, your tie, your socks, your shoes, everything, the belt I got you, everything. I want you to put everything on. When my son did that, and you can go check the pictures on Instagram. When my son did that, he changed and put on his suit. Pay attention, guys. I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying. And he's seen how he looked. He's seen how he felt. His sense of self-esteem and self-importance was heightened from what it was. His mother and I said, wow, look at you, son. You look good. Open the buttons up. Close the buttons up. Let us take pictures of you. Man, you look handsome. You look like you about to take over the world. You look like a businessman. You actually look like a politician. A lot of men and a lot of women, but a lot of men have not gotten that kind of word or that kind of healthy environment where their ego can be fed properly from a father or even from a mother or from anyone else. The more I said it, the more my son posed. He showed his shoes. He posed. He did the Malcolm X. He did this because his ego was being stroked. He felt like he can conquer the world. The problem is we have so neglected to feed men's ego because we are afraid that they may become inflated or their ego may become inflated instead of realizing that it needs to become healthy. So what we have now is we have men who have unhealthy egos because they're starving. They are starving. When my son walked around with his shoes on, with his socks, the socks that goes color coordinated, his belt matched up with his shoes and his tie was hit just right, tied the right knot, Windsor knot. He felt like he can conquer the world. But what's happened is a lot of men's ego have been stripped from them. And they feel like they cannot conquer the world. They've been beat down, tore down, told they ain't nothing. Because they have no healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance. I'm talking to someone. And it leads me to this point. And I know I bring up the Bible, but that's what I know. Even the great teacher had to hear from his father, "This is my son and who I am well pleased." How many men and how many women, but we're talking to the men, have heard from a father or a father figure or from a male in their life. This is my boy. This is my dude. This is this guy right here. And I am well pleased. Most men have not been cultivated in an environment that actually promotes a healthy ego. 2, because we thought the ego was so bad, we have starved it to death. And since we have starved it to death, anytime it's getting even a piece of crumb, it doesn't know how to act. Third of all, because the man, because it hasn't been an environment that's been properly cultivated, now our women don't know how to effectively stroke the man's ego. Oh, I'm down somebody's path. This is just week 1. This is just the beginning. I don't care what they say on these YouTube streets, these YouTubians. A man's ego needs to be stroked. He can say all he wants. No, I validate myself. I don't need nobody. I got a video up. I said it. I got the video. Validate your, validation come here. A man's ego needs to be stroked. And the woman who knows how to effectively stroke the man's ego, first the man needs to know how to do it himself, becomes viable to him. Now, the dangerous part is if a woman strokes a man's ego with the wrong intentions. The dangerous part is if a woman strokes a man's ego with the wrong intentions for selfish motives. We have to cultivate an environment, again, at home, amongst men, amongst women, where we promote a healthy place where the ego, remember you define ego, the definition is a person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. We have to create an environment where that is promoted. And I'm here to tell you that environment has not been created. That space is void right now. Very true, Monica. This is true. Your ego can be manipulated, right? So we have to make sure we create a healthy space, a healthy environment where the ego is completely guarded. What happens is we have a lot of men who have low self. We have a lot of men who have a low sense of self-esteem and self-importance. And so since they have a sense of what? A low sense of self-importance, what do you think they do? They go to the extreme to cover their lack of sense of self-esteem and self-importance. I got to check tape on Friday. This energy has been an edge to it today. You got to check Friday. Friday was ridiculous. We was in Jupiter. Let me say that again. When you don't have a sense of a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-importance, what some people do to cover it up is they go to the extreme to cover up their inadequacies. They go to the extreme to cover up their lack of sense of self-esteem and self-importance. Hence why we have what? The inflated ego. They overcompensate. Thank you. When you have a healthy ego, you're not bothered by others. When you have a healthy ego, you're not bothered by others. Oh, really? That's what you're doing? Okay, great, wonderful. Because I have my own sense. See, we tried to damn people who have a sense of self-importance like they're wrong. We try to put down people who have a healthy sense of self-esteem. And the only reason why people put down other people who have a healthy ego is because they don't have one themselves.
You can't make this up.
They do not have one themselves. So you try to tear down other people to your level of your sense of what? Low self-esteem and low self-importance. But let me get back. We have now cultivated a community of teaching men and women on how to pour into someone's ego. What's going on? What's going on, Jana?
What's up?
You know I'm on 10,000 degrees over here. I've said that we're talking about the ego this week, and we everyone can have a definition, but I'm gonna give a definition from the dictionary. A person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. And what happens is we have not created an environment where people can have an healthy ego, because we are so focused on the negative connotations that people have perceived of what ego is. Now, I said a whole bunch more than that before you came on, but but that's where.
Yeah, people take ego and say, "Oh, that's arrogance."
Mm-hmm.
People take ego and say, "Oh, that's being self-centered." And people say ego, and then they say, "Oh, that's narcissistic," or something like that.
Oh, did you say that word? Oh, shoot, hold on. Wait a minute. John, man, why you in my notes, man? We did not talk. Did we talk?
Nope.
I ain't trying to be funny, but this is already pulled up. I was trying to avoid this word because most people don't know what narcissists mean, and they use it out of context and they use it completely wrong.
Oh yeah. And no, we're not trying to copy. I definitely heard it on another stream this weekend. I did hear it.
I did hear it too. I heard it from that particular stream.
I look at it from a standpoint though of it being a correct assumption of it being incorrectly used all the time.
Yeah.
And what happens is when people start to jumble definitions and synonyms together, if I take a synonym and say, oh, well, it's like this and it's like that and it's like this and like that, you start to think that's the definition. No, it's not. Synonyms are of similarity, not exactly the same, you see?
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
And we all need to go back to, our elementary school and our, some of our, English 101 and start to really define what something really is. You see what I'm saying? And okay, look at that.
You're hitting this topic out the park today, earlier. Y'all show some love. Thank you. Because most people, and I've been guilty of it, use the word ego and narcissistic the wrong way.
They weaponize it.
Yeah. They weaponize it. And what happens is, John, you got sons, right? How many sons you got?
I have two, just like you.
Is this something when you pour into your son's ego that they begin to stand up stronger? I heard you when we were on the phone one time. Mm-hmm. We was rapping, yeah. And you say, hey, you say, hold on, L, hold on. Really, son? Really, you did that? That's good. That's good, man. I didn't hear your son's response, but I felt your son's response that he was happy that his dad acknowledged his accomplishments on what he did.
Also, it's important. It's important to feed the ego. And it's not, you feeding the ego yourself is selfishness. Somebody else is supposed to feed your ego. And it's through you earning it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. When somebody gives you praise, when somebody gives you acknowledgement, or at least the reward of knowing that you did a good job, it boosts your ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
We look for it. We don't have to have it. It's a good addition to our existence, but it's something that comes from the outside. Now, you can go within and encourage your own ego through meditation and affirmation, but it's better received from the outside, just like physicality. We just talked about that last week, right?
That's why I have to. It's funny you say that, because it comes when you say that. I thought about this, and I remember we talk about it later on this week. But I talked about when you come to the channel, you see the first video comes up. Validate yourself first, or validate yourself. But at some point, someone is going to have to validate you for who you are.
Yeah. It doesn't define you. It just validates it. Yeah.
You cannot go through life. I'm validate myself. I don't need nobody to validate me. Someone you cannot say I validate myself. I'm a bus driver, but can you drive them? Somebody got to give you license to validate that you can drive the bus.
Yeah. If you have to walk around justifying, not verifying, but justifying your existence, then you aren't certified. And that's the thing. When you have become valuable to the group, that's when you have become verified and certified. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to feel like you have to justify what you know and then give everybody the same story. You ever see people tell you the same story over and over and over and over to try and beat that story into your head as the truth, and you be sitting in your head like that? That's not the truth.
Right.
It's not my truth. I don't identify it, so I can't live in that congruency. That's a person that hasn't been accepted by the group, and therefore have not been validated. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people, they have a lot of information in their head, but the group hasn't valued it. So they're not verified. It's so simple.
We have so went to extremes, and our validation. We go and validate, but I want to make sure I want to stay on top of with the ego.
But that's how you validate it. You validate it by being accepted by the group.
Yeah.
You cannot walk around and say, listen, this stuff works without having proof that it worked.
That's it. And that's the problem. That's the problem that I've seen this happen. And I have to look at it. When I looked, I said, my first video, the video that comes up, validate yourself first. Okay. So what? You validate yourself first. Somewhere down the road, someone got to say, well, you know what? Since you validate yourself first, like you said, where's the proof in the pudding?
Yeah.
Where is the proof in the pudding? And what happens is the reason why we're afraid for other people to validate us, because we're afraid that they may control the outcome with us.
Or they may, or like the Wizard of Oz, the curtain's going to be pulled back, and you're going to see the wizard's just a man pulling a bunch of little strings. See, and you have to understand that fear or that presence was never actually real.
It's never.
So why can't we all just take the time to go within and say, listen, remember I always told you, don't take a word from somebody that hasn't had an experience in that situation, because they are just speaking from the book as opposed to what's really happened to them. If I tell you money's been created out of thin air, I have proof of it. So it may not be the same definition that everybody may be comfortable with defining it as, but I've seen it. I've literally seen miracles happen. I've had adjustments made that could not ever be explained. But see, those are coming from my experience. I could tell you the feeling, the passion, the emotion that comes along with that experience. If somebody says, oh, I read in a book, let's do this, and all of a sudden, okay, it don't feel the same, right? Because first of all, they can't say they did it. They have to quote somebody else doing it. And guess what happens? Every time you become a carbon copy of somebody else, the copy becomes less, it becomes degraded.
Yeah.
Get it? If you tell somebody's story from somebody else's story, it's going to be missing pieces. It's guaranteed your memory don't accept it the way their memory accepted it. So now you're giving them a bad carbon copy of a story, and the feelings and emotions, nothing got transferred in that story, because you literally tertiary, which is not secondary. Secondary is, well, first of all, primary is you in the experience. Secondary is you repeating your experience. Tertiary is when you repeating someone else's story. So if I go and tell somebody LDA's story tomorrow, they're gonna be like, wow, that's a great guy. Can I meet him? They're not gonna say, they're not gonna get changed by what I told them.
They want to experience from.
They want to meet you.
Right.
They want to get it from you're not a horse, but you want to get it from the horse's mouth. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if you said, oh, my man Jono, he did all this, and you're gonna like, okay, thank you for telling me his name. How do I find him?
Right.
And that's what we're talking about. Our ego gets the best of us sometimes, because we're actually telling somebody else's story and we don't have our own. We are sitting here book smart
and
instead of being street smart. And I'm not saying you're not supposed to have one or the other, but experience will always shine through, because you could tell the story as it happened.
Right. Versus someone
tell the story verbatim.
Versus someone who's just out there repeating. I call it. We have a lot of people who sell cud.
Exactly.
A lot of people who sell. So if you don't know what cud is when a cow chews the grass, It chews it up, goes to one stomach, regurgitates it back up, chew it up again, goes to the next stomach, and that's that second time coming up is called cud. And what happened is we have a lot of people who regurgitate stuff that's just cud instead of something that's actually the first time, like you said, from the horse's mouth or from the cow's mouth that's chewed up. And you think about it, if it's chewed up, it's processed.
Yeah, it's going through a process.
Yes.
And that process makes it different.
It changes the whole element of it. Changes not the element, but it changes the whole I think the word escaped me, but it changes it.
Why do you think we ask people to come up? Because we want to know your experience firsthand.
Just had that discussion this morning.
We want to have your experience as it was told, as it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to read it in an email. You're not saying in text message you lose stuff, and even in translation, when somebody's typing something gets lost. Mm-hmm. You don't see the body language. You don't see the characteristics and the different poses, the body language that the body has goes along with your verbal communication, so people can see the emotion and how this truly affected you, and can it be properly transferred to the next person. I don't want to hear stories fourthhand. I wish I could have met some of the people I read their most powerful books, like Neville and Napoleon Hill. These people are outside of our generation right now, but I wish I could have met them, because if the book had that kind of impact, imagine the person in the flesh.
Yeah, completely different. And this is the thing. You know what you will find out when you sit down and talk with them? You're going to run across their ego.
Yeah.
You gotta run across it.
If it's properly defined, then you won't be afraid of it. You see?
That's
he got a big ego. Oh well, okay, well then that's something negative. So I don't want to be congruent with it. No, ego is your personality.
There's sense of self-esteem and self-importance.
Exactly. It's not their comfort. It's their happiness.
Oh, whoa.
You can't make this up.
That's where the problem is. And that's why I want to get back to the environment. A lot of men, I'm saying a lot of men, and because this is a men's channel, a lot of men's sense of self-esteem and self-importance is in the dirt. It's low. And because it hasn't been fed properly, they go to extremes to cover up their insecurities and their ego.
I'm gonna give another example. I would say this: a man's ego is definitely, I would say, stroked, as we say. You stroke somebody's ego.
Oh yeah.
A man's ego is stroked by his accomplishments. A woman's ego is stroked by how she handled things. Get it?
We slow. This zero in on. I wish I had the thing like. Because right there, y'all need to get that. Say that again.
I'm saying a woman has her ego is stroked by how she handles something, how she feels about it. She will always feel that it's not that the situation happened. A woman's confidence is always going to be stroked because she thinks she can handle it, but her ego is stroked by the way she handled it and how she felt during it. A man, his ego is stroked by what he got done. He wants to see how much he got done. Think about it. Even in the when it comes to, physicality, the man is always challenged to do more, and the woman is always challenged to feel more. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Come on. We they ain't ready for this, dude. We went to Jupiter on Friday. Now we everybody get your tickets. We going there. We on that one.
It's true.
So what
You
happened?
want to mess with a woman's ego?
Mm.
Find out she had no feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You want to mess with a man's ego? Tell him he didn't get nothing done.
Catch that.
That's the first thing a woman say. No, it didn't happen for me. No feeling for her means you didn't do nothing. See?
Mm-hmm. And what do men look for when they have sex? Did they accomplish the act?
Exactly. Did they finish?
Did they finish? And the woman's looking at him, did I feel anything in the act? I didn't feel him. Exactly. I had a conversation this week about that. This weekend.
Now think about it like this. Forget about the gender roles, but I'm going to say something that's going to sound almost sexist, right? If a woman cooks the meal, right? Mm-hmm. She cooks the meal. She already knows she can get the meal done, right? She already knows she can get the meal done. But what is she looking for? How do you feel about it?
How did it taste?
How did it taste? How do you feel about it? Did it make you smile? Now, if she cooked the meal, she's not happy until she gets the reaction. That's what strokes her ego. Her ego is the feeling.
They don't want this game, man. They don't want this. Mastering your ego in the game, they don't want this, man.
But if the man goes out and goes and chops down the tree to bring the firewood in, he's not looking for an emotion response. He's going to look at the pile. He's going to look at the pile. She's going to say, oh, wow, you brought in all the wood. See? It's now quantified. It's counted. That's what strokes his ego. Wow, you brought in so much wood. Look at that.
Baby, you look good. When you was out there chopping them with the axe looked like it was heavy and was sharp, and you cut the wood up and you ground in the pile. Do you know that man would start every day? He'd be out there trying to cut that wood down.
He'd be trying
every day.
He'd be trying to, baby, I cut down one tree yesterday. I cut down 2 today.
Right. What?
What are you talking about? You see, we need numbers. We want to be able to multiply and knock them out the park. That's how you stroke a man's ego.
And a woman's ego is stroked, and how you what? Make
how she feels in the situation. How comfortable can you make her feel? If she feels sad, you want to make her feel better. She will always credit you for making her feel better in the game.
Willingness to learn. John O. LDA punching our chest in the humble, that ego. Yeah. Men are what is that?
Quantitative.
Yeah, quantitative.
So what happens in a quantitative state, and thanks again, Jonathan W. I didn't forget you. I definitely saw what you sent last week. In a quantitative state, we're looking to see if our numbers are high. That's why we're always trying to score each other. We're always trying to outdo each other. The only way you can outdo something is if you can see the numbers, right? You can see the result, and then we're going to try and beat that. But like I said, what we fall short on is when people tell us our numbers are wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Our ego is hurt when people tell us what's wrong with our numbers. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, the sales goal this week was $500. You fell short by $350. But Jeremy over here did $750.
What?
And you're like, good job, Jeremy. You know what I'm saying?
Time.
It's literally scratching at the ego. Because you don't want to do half as much as them, even if it wasn't even the goal. Okay, it's the same thing. It's about being. Why do you think people come to work on time?
Ego.
Because they don't want their ego stroked by 2 minutes. I could have been here 2 minutes earlier, and now my boss is mad at me. If I would have just come here 2 minutes earlier, my boss wouldn't have been mad at me. Why can't I be on time? See, that's an ego striking type situation, because it was so easy to get it 2 minutes earlier, and the light didn't change the right way. The person, I held the door open for somebody and 10 people walked in while I was waiting. We don't know what the circumstance was, but your ego is struck because it could have been so easy to get 2 minutes faster and you just messed it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's all you had to do, you see? So it's like it beats down on your ego because you know that this could have been fixed easily.
And that's why it's so important that men and women, to the men especially, to do a health check on your ego. How healthy is your ego? Are you in deficit, or are you inflated in your ego?
I have a feeling by the end of this week, this whole group is going to have a handle on how to health check it.
Yeah, because it's so needed, man. I think a lot of times, like you said, why there's internal fighting within certain spaces is because of unhealthy egos. When you have a healthy ego, you're like, whatever, man.
If your ego is healthy, you wouldn't be trying to go check somebody else's. Because the first thing we do when something's wrong with us is go try to find something wrong with somebody else. We're not looking to fix ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a character flaw. That's a big character flaw. That's not a problem with our ego. That's a problem with our character. Know the difference.
You said so I got my ego. I have to say my ego has been on fire, aka Alfie. Shout out to Alfie. Healthy ego is very needed. Yeah, it's so needed. And a lot of men's ego have not been stroked from a child. One thing I remember my father saying, he used to say this all the time. I think I said it before. You're not my son because you signed. You're my son because you're mine. That made all the difference in the world.
Listen, I like Jonathan W.'s question. Is it the issue that as men, are we so extremely quantitative when it comes to our ego that we ultimately stifle our own ego by focusing on our losses and marginalizing our own victories? It's actually very true.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what gets us wrong. You can grow something the wrong way, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you put a potato in water instead of the soil, what happens to the potato? You're going to get the wrong type of thing. You can actually grow poisonous entities from a potato by putting it in the wrong water. Sometimes we have been growing our ego the wrong way.
That's it.
The reason why it has had such a negative connotation, like selfishness and grandstanding and alpha and all this other stuff, the reason why you hear all those bad words associated with ego is, like I said, the definition. But we grow those words. We grew the ego that way. And it's been redefined as something that wasn't supposed to be defined that way. But I'll tell you this, it can be reversed.
Yes, it can.
It can be reversed if you go within.
And that's what happened on Friday.
If you make a decision to go within and fix that, and literally just go back to the definition, the original definition.
And
then get in alignment with what makes you happy, as opposed to what you're trying to show off, you can fix this whole problem. You truly can.
I have been honest. I had inflated ego. That's the good thing is I never did nanos with helium. Then I ego Mickey Mouse was okay. Let's go. So the thing is, I want to make sure you understand this. We are not saying let go of your ego.
Use it properly. How about that?
That's it. Don't let go of your ego. And I'm not going for the definition thing that preachers and stuff say. The ego is edging God out. No, I'm not going for that. How about edging God on, or edging God? I want to say within, because that's really pretty much within. You realizing the godness of who you are.
Yeah. Well, matter of fact, if you really master your ego, you realize that all we're trying to do is praise God inside you. doing good.
Uh-oh, John, why don't start? Everybody start. Oh, dun, 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 dun. Let me. What?
Listen, we are already God, right? So if somebody praises the God inside me by stroking my ego, then guess what? We're praising God together. Look at that.
Here we go. So careful when someone says edging God out. The ego. The
I
only
never even heard that before today.
You never heard that before? That's what some people do.
That sounds stupid.
Preachers have been saying that edging God out. Your ego is not good. It's not connected to this. No, when you really have a healthy
ego is individuality, right?
Yes, your sense of
So if
self-importance.
the preacher is looking for sheep, and you're not, then you're not a sheep.
They ain't ready for this, dude.
If we got to get the ego out, because I need the individual out. I don't need no individual in here. I need a nice, calm sheep. That's
exactly what they do. Because if you have a sense of self-esteem and self-importance from the definition of ego, and you say, I'm going to is edging God out, or I want to edge that out, you're what you're doing is in essence making a follower.
Jesus found the disciples in their individuality, not in their ability to be sheep. He said, I didn't want fish. I want fishers of men. Fishers of men. Fishermen. I want fishers of men. He didn't say I wanted the fish. He already knew he could create the fish, right? We saw that.
Yeah, when he went out there.
Why do you want fishermen then if he create the fish? Ask yourself that. If he create the fish, why do you need the fishermen?
Ding, 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 ding.
He wanted individuals. Okay, yeah. So that ego stuff is defined incorrectly.
I heard it for years, man. I promise you. I heard it preached.
Show me. I want to see it in the Bible.
It's not. You can't find it. That's what I'm saying. We didn't talk about on edging God out.
It's all over my face from the blind.
Yeah. We want you to get it is realize that it's edging God on. It's there, man. You when you really get into your ego, you realize who you are. Here we go. You realize your I amness.
You know the real definition of edging? Edging is to get to the point without completion. That's what edging means.
Oh yeah, but yeah. I think about something. Yeah,
in many aspects, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's called, it's ruining the moment.
Yeah, it really does.
But see, why would you even associate that with God?
Okay.
You can't edge me away from God when I am God. He made me in his image and his likeness. Why I am him. You can't edge me from him. My ego can't be anything but God.
That's the problem. There it is. Look at this. 144. I don't got no jerk chicken today. I can be nothing else but God.
If he's made in my image, why am I afraid to use the tools he gave me?
This is right there, John, or is right there. We're going to have to get it right there. Most people are afraid of their godness. And because some people decide to walk in it, it intimidates those who are not walking in it. So what I'll do is I'll shame you, put you down, say you ain't nothing, because I don't want you to identify or to realize your God-given power, the godness inside of you, or your I amness.
It's true. It's true. I'm read this other book instead of the Bible. In that book, I wrote ego is edging God out.
Yeah.
Authored by me. He also put the exact minimum of the amount of money he's supposed to pay me today.
Mm-hmm. Because people are looking for sheep and not liters. Resonating, synchronicity. Nice to see the confirmation and validation. Well, we got to get ready to go. Wow, man. Jeez Louise, I felt Jupiter trying to call us. I was about to call Elon Musk right quick. But it's so powerful. We just now started. This is just the beginning. Mastering your ego in the game. Is it that we need to master the ego in the game? Or is it that it's not the mastery that you need to do, it's recognizing that who your ego really is?
Mm-hmm. Your individuality.
Yeah.
Some of you aren't individual because you're always following somebody else. There's no way you can have an ego. All you do is repeat what other people say.
Yeah. Repeat that, mother. Repeat that, mother.
I take pride and joy in giving somebody credit from what they say. You know why? Because I don't do it that often.
Mm-hmm.
I use my experience to teach. And if I find somebody else's example worthy, then it definitely comes out. But like I told you, I don't want to be a bad carbon copy of their experience. You go listen to them yourself.
Right. Oh, hope this resonated today. Remember, the devil is always attempting to strip you of your divinity. So if we were to say, look at that statement, who is the devil?
A lot of people ain't ready to hear who that is.
Yeah, ready to hear who the devil is. Anybody know who the devil is? I give you, let me know anybody know who the devil is? Can anyone tell me in the context who the devil is in the statement that Jonathan W. wrote, which is actually really good? Who is the devil?
We're about to have some people hang up the phone.
Yeah. What do you mean? I give him we're going.
How could he say that?
It's sacrilegious. We need our devil. Who is the devil? This is like Orange Moon song by Badu. How good he is, how God is good. Right. Who is the devil? Anybody know who the devil is? In the context of which John the devil put it out there.
He's already saying it.
We are dualistic.
He's already saying it.
So it is you. There we go. In the context of what he just said, and we have to go on this because here we go. We're going back here again. Remember that I am always attempting to strip myself of my divinity. Wait a minute, let me read that again. Remember that I am always trying to attempt to strip myself of my divinity.
Sure. The enemy is the enemy.
Oh, your own delusions, your inner voice. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were created in omnipotence, right? Mm-hmm. You are all powerful, so you have the power of the whole kingdom or everything that holds you back. So you can create the God and let him be the tool you use, or you can create the devil and stay in the hole and die alone.
They said they're gonna get us for teaching this, man. They're gonna get us for teaching. We can't teach this.
But if you don't take responsibility first, the devil lives because it's outside of you. See? You gotta take responsibility first. This is all you, bro. This is all you, young lady. This is all you.
Is the devil stopping me from doing it?
God, why did you let that happen? That's one of my favorite questions. Really? You gonna blame the person who gave you free choice?
Wow, look at these. These nuts is on a divinity equals identity. I tell you, this thinking class. This is why this is called a thinking class. Because we think and execute. Oh boy, we'll leave the devil alone because some people say the devil is your ego is the devil. If you look at it that way. Well, and that being said, if this is resonating with you, I want you to put a number 702. Accountability. Accountability is rooted in divinity by that understanding. Yeah, rooted. 702. Oh, y'all beat me to the punch. I can't even, man, I'm trying to type. Man, I'm trying to reach my hand. I'm like, 702. 702. And we need to say a shout out to Unique. His father passed away. We're going to send some prayers out to him and love to him. He's faithfully comes at the end of the show and comes and write in the comments, the website and all like that. So shout out to, we're sending out love to Unique in the loss of his father. He's been a contributor here. Appreciate him. So I want to make sure we understand. We this is a family. This is a community. This is a tribe. We make sure we actually send some love out to Unique. Y'all know Unique to come in here. Prayers up to him. If you see him anywhere, make sure you send him some love to Unique. Prayers up to him because he's in the loss of his father. And I want to thank my angel that came to me this weekend to make sure LDA was okay because I was out. I needed to get some rest. So I appreciate the angel who came to me. Make sure I was good. Sea moss, soup, and all that because I had the chills. I was like, man, I feel like all right, man, it's crazy. Thank you for my angels. Angel showing up. Sending prayers and condolences to Unique. So I don't. One thing I realized, more and more I stepped away yesterday. I thought about this, just thinking about the show. This is such like a family. It's like a big extended family across the world.
Yeah.
He said, when I think of 702, I think of the girl group from Old Town that had a hit. Missy Elliott, 702. Yeah, 702. So can you give me that 702 angel right quick? And I had to get it go. We had 150. We had extended ourselves. Wow. There she go. Out of nowhere, the angel shows up. So it's a message to your angel that is that hard work and effort you have put towards serving your
divine life.
Purpose.
They didn't say regular life. They said divine life.
It's to serve your divine life, purpose, and soul missions has been acknowledged. Acknowledge, and you are being able to congratulate and reward for work well done. We can't make this up.
You can't make this up.
Tomorrow we'll continue the conversation around the ego. This is like the introduction. So tomorrow we'll continue the conversation. One of the things I think we need to really talk about is creating a health. What constitute creating a healthy environment for ego? Because there are certain environments that actually promote an unhealthy environment for the ego. Shout out to the thing. Appreciate you guys. Peace, love, and more hair grease. Well, beard grease because beard bomb. I don't got no more hair up here. I can't use hair grease. Till we see you again, we are out of here. Peace. Think you got it, Jono, man?
Starting to get it. Yep. We day one.
Day one, dude. Gloves were off. Thank you. I am getting better. Gotta have a healthy ego. You know, men who have healthy egos actually accomplish a lot.
It definitely takes away the inhibitions.
Yeah. So could it be that sometime in society that they're trying to stifle the ego of the people?
Yeah, we take away your ego, then you won't feel like being an individual, and you think your stuff is supposed to be the same as everybody else's.
Interesting. Oh boy. Interesting. Well, I guess we gotta go.